Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm here to talk about how to import this Excel sheet here of accounts into Salesforce, and I will also talk about best practices for this process. So for this example, we are going to be using Data Import Wizard, which can be accessed through Salesforce via setup. So if I go here, this is the tool we're going to be using here. So some key points about Data Import Wizard is that it allows up to 50,000 records at a time. And for standard objects, it's limited because it can only import from accounts, contacts, leads, solutions, and campaign members. We also have to make sure the Excel file is saved as a CSV file. We should also make sure to provide column headers to match the field names in Salesforce. So as you see, I did this here, account name for the name and account number and prospect rating. It's best practice in general to be consistent with data formats. So for example, CA versus California, you want to make sure it's consistent all across the board. So it's very important to check the data before importing it. So just making sure that everything is spelled correctly and making sure that things like the pick list values are valid pick list options and the data type matches the expected data type for the field. So here we made sure that we have hot, cold, and warm, which are all valid pick list values for the prospect rating. Also, another good technique is removing spaces that shouldn't be there. So, for example, if I want to remove all the extra spaces, let's say there's a space that I didn't see after this word hot, or this could happen in phone numbers or in other fields as well. If I want to only remove the spaces from this field, for example, I would select this column. I would do Control H, and I would find what I would put a space here and then replace with nothing, and then I would do replace all, and as you can see, it removed all the extra spaces. So it removed the space that was here for prospect rating, and if there were any other spaces, it would have removed those too. So that's just an example of how to remove spaces or how to change something only in one column. So Control H is very helpful to change a lot of things at one time. Also, just be sure to watch out for hyphens too when you're importing things like phone numbers, because those could affect the data as well. So there's actually a really helpful and free tool called HappySoup that Ike Way made a quick video on, which basically allows you to enter in a field and see how the field is connected throughout the org. So whether the field is referenced in things like flows or Apex classes, which is called an impact analysis. And in my mind, it's very important because it basically lets you know about what would be affected when you do things like import data. So I'll put a link to his video in the description of this video. And there are other tools besides HappySoup that can accomplish this, such as elements.cloud, and Ike makes a fantastic video on this as well. So this tool has more functionality than HappySoup, and two examples of extra functionality are being able to easily make a printable org analysis report to show how your overall data health is looking, and also being able to allow users to give feedback on fields themselves with just a convenient purple button on the page layout next to the specific field. So I'll put a link to Ike's video on this tool also in the description below. We want to be sure to check things like required fields, validation rules, and duplicate rules for the account object for what it takes to save an account before importing the data. So as you can see here, there's a duplicate here. So there's two Wellington systems. So I'm going to show you the trick, just how to remove duplicates from an Excel file. So if you select everything like this, and then if you click on data, and then I click this here, which says remove duplicates, I can select this. I can say, yes, my data has headers, and it's going to sort through these columns here, and which are checked off. And if I click OK, watch what happens to this Wellington Systems example here. So it basically just removes it. And so I think this is a really helpful way to remove duplicates. So hopefully this can help you moving forward. So in Salesforce itself, we can go to Setup. If I go here, and we can type in duplicate rules, and which have the potential to block duplicate records from being created, updated, or in our case, imported. So as mentioned, a matching rule determines whether the record a user is creating or updating is similar enough to other records to be considered a duplicate, where duplicate rules make it so you choose a matching rule, and it basically tells Salesforce what action to take when these matches are identified. And you need to select specific objects when you're making these matching rules and duplicate rules. So now let's do the actual import of these records here. So if I go here, I'm going to click Launch Wizard. And so this is the file's named Account Import, and it's in the CSV file format. We're going to click Accounts, Contacts. Here are the standard objects I was talking about earlier. These are the ones that Data Import Wizard can work with. We're going to do Add New Records because we're going to add these records here. Basically, for this option here that says Match Account By, this is just saying that if I select Name and Site, which is the only option here, and if I import a record that has the same name or site as another record that's already in the org, then it'll help Salesforce determine whether to update an existing record or add a new record. So you could say this is like a mini built-in matching / duplicate rule. So I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to click drag CSV file here to upload. So I'm going to click CSV file. We're going to select the file. Click this choose file and select the one you want. And we're just going to hit next. So since my Excel sheet here is very neat, I don't really have to do any work with this mapping. But if you wanted to map, account name with something else for whatever reason, like a different column, you would change the mapping here. So now I'm just going to click here. I'm going to click next. And then I'm going to click start import. It's going to say congratulations, your import is started. And it should say 3 records have successfully, yes. So it says records process is 3 and the status is completed. So if we go here to all accounts, if we just hit refresh, we will see that Wellington Systems, InsureCare, and Prestige Worldwide have been added here. So here, Wellington Systems, and then Prestige Worldwide, and InsureCare. So perfect. So now that we imported these accounts, that concludes this video, and hope you learned a thing or two, and we'll see you in the next one.